about becoming a lead RBT, before I flip my camera, I will say this. Lead RBTs are only found in clinic settings. You don't see them lead RBTs at the schools. You don't see the lead RBTs in home. They're coming in during in home sessions to help out the other RBTs. You only see them at the clinic. And this is, again, I'm not talking about the school district trying to hire, supervision, or even that is like, you still got to be ethical. Because if you like, why are you requiring my RBT certification? If I'm going to be supervising staff and not providing direct services, my RBT certification it has nothing to do with my scope of competence to supervise staff. It doesn't. So why do you need it? Like, these are the things. And then let me tell y'all something. I saw one post on the BCBA, one of the BCBA Facebook groups. They were saying that this company was playing with her. She was saying that she applied for a position, and the position was for her to be a clinical director. A clinical director. Then when she got in the job, she had her first interview, and then the second interview was shadowing. In that second interview, the boss addressed her as one of the BCBAs. And then she was looking at him like, I don't think so. I'm confused. That's not the job that I applied for. And she kindly addressed this man, took him to the side and said, hey, I didn't apply for a BCBA job. I applied for a clinical director. And they told her, oh, well, I think it's just best that we have you as a BCBA instead of a clinical director. Yet on Indeed, they said we're hiring for clinical director, not for BCBA. So they be switching. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. These companies you think you're getting one thing, but you're getting something else. And especially with this lead RBT positions, because many of them want to go around, all circles, trying to make sure, like, okay, so they don't hire a behavior analyst. They they rather just up a $5 extra pay on an RBT. They're like, how much work can we have this lead RBT do so we don't have to hire a BCBA? Then they're trying to gaslight y'all and say, well, we're giving y'all opportunities. No, you're not. Let me tell you something. An ethical lead RBT position, to be honest, is a student analyst, because the things that some lead RBTs do, and y'all can see in my other posts, there's so many comments that I'm hearing lead RBTs supervising a whole group of RBTs, and then they're saying training. What they mean, because I said, okay, be specific, because training could be orientation. That's ethical. Training could be onboarding. That's ethical. What is this training? They're talking about behavioral training. They're talking about, like, and it's not the 40-hour training, just behavioral training on, like how to apply behavior analytic programs and stuff like that. It's not client specific, but it's how to apply these programs. I said, okay. Okay. And I said, well, how much you getting paid? $18. I said, okay. The next one, another comment was saying, well, I'm a lead RBT and I can do I write assessments and behavioral plans. And I said, are you a student analyst? She said, no. I said, how the heck you writing assessment plans and you're just a regular RBT? What type of insurance code do you qualify for as a RBT writing out assessment plans? Because when it comes to insurance codes, y'all, they call it, well, I know it's called CPT codes. Those CPT codes, this is approved by the BACB, by a whole different group of organizations that says, hey, these type of, either the BCBA can be reimbursed for this type of work. The RBT can be reimbursed for this type of work. The BCABA can be reimbursed for this type of work. So there's no way, because there's education requirements, credential requirements, all of that goes into the CPT code that insurance can see how to reimburse you. I don't know what type of CPT codes that they're reimbursing you as a lead RBT writing out assessment plans, and you're not a student analyst. Student analysts don't even get paid doing that. If they get paid doing that, it's most likely the company paying them, not the insurance paying them. That's why their pay is so low in most companies. So this is important for y'all to know your ethics code, so that when you are seeing job opportunities, you're not getting played with. You're not being overworked and underpaid, and you think, oh well, at least I'm getting $5 more an hour. It doesn't mean a thing when you should be getting more than $5 more an hour if you start doing behavior analyst task. You're not a behavior analyst. That's why they pay you so low. So let me tell y'all something. Let me flip the camera so you guys can see. Okay. So let's look at what supervision is, okay? Supervision is client-specific feedback, training, and guidance about implementing programs. The programs is the behavior programs. Observation of service delivery with or without feedback. So this can be done via Zoom. This could be done like, even if you sit in, you're not saying anything. You're just seeing what the RBT is doing. That is supervision. You're observing. That is supervision, even with or without feedback, okay? Supervision is not general clinical training, which is the 40-hour training. If, first of all, they're not even RBT. I mean, since we're talking about you sitting in, like you being a lead RBT, supervise, or I should say training other RBTs, then this wouldn't count. These are for people who are becoming RBTs, okay? And the online modules, organization specific in services, which could be scheduling, answering the phone, following up with the RBT to see, hey, are you going to come in today, or whatever the case might be. Onboarding, training for certifications, example, CPR, crisis management, so forth. Unrestricted activities for fieldwork hours. That's not supervision. That's why I said student analysts right here, they should be lead RBTs, but because they don't get paid for it. But let's keep going. And you guys can look on this too. If you type in RBT fact sheet, ongoing supervision fact sheet, you can look on this on the BACB website. So this right here gives a list here. There's some RBTs, like there's some clients that work with multiple RBTs. So it says to meet, let's say, meet with their supervisor to discuss the client's progress and learn how to implement a new component of the client's behavior intervention plan. Okay. That's part of observation. Let me say, that's part of supervision, contact, and group. Okay. Another one is RBT supervisor observes an RBT client session to collect data for a behavior intervention plan. That's observation and individual. So this one, a lot of people get this confused. They're like, well, what if a lead RBT is a RBT requirements coordinator? No, they're not. And we'll look at what a requirements coordinator is. But an RBT requirements coordinator observes a live RBT client session remotely without interaction. So there's different examples of how supervision looks like. So if you are a lead RBT and you're doing any of this, then you're acting unethical, one, and you're being underpaid and overworked. This is a behavior analyst job. This is not an RBT that has 10 years of experience in a bachelor's degree job. Even if you work at a school, please be careful. You should not be supervising staff. You should not be training staff on client-specific behavioral programs. Sometimes the school does not even know about your ethics code, yet they say on the job site, make sure you adhere to the BACB ethics code. So if you don't follow the ethics code and then you're training the staff on the behavioral intervention program, okay, then you're not acting according to your ethics code. And I think that's the issue, is that many people, they say, well, no, you know, you're not working as an RBT. You're working as a behavior interventionist. You can try to rewrite this job title all you want, But if you're requiring my RBT certification and you're telling me that I need to follow with my RBT ethics code, then that means I am an RBT because you're reimbursing me from an RBT, from an RBT's rate. Like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? They could call you behavior intervention specialist, behavior support specialist, behavior, whatever they want to call you. If they're requiring your RBT certification, you have to adhere to the RBT ethics code. So let's look at the RBT ethics code. There's two that I saw. The one that I said here, 1.06. RBTs provide behavior technician services only after their supervisor confirms that they have demonstrated competence. Okay? And behavior interventions will look at what does that mean? What does the BACB means? Because some of us, again, we do a lot of different type of work. So we'll look at what that means. But 1.06, that's the biggest one. And I think there was another one, y'all. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Okay, 2.06. RBTs direct any questions or concerns that they or others have about their behavior technician services to their supervisor. That supervisor is not your lead RBT. Your supervisor is your BCBA or BCABA. These are the qualified supervisors, okay? So let me see the glossary here so we can look. Behavior technician services. It's important for you, like if you read the glossary, you can know exactly what they're talking about. So behavior technician services is services provided under the direction of a BACB required supervisor that are explicitly based on the principles and procedures of behavior analysis and are designed to change behavior in meaningful ways. These services include, but not limited to, implementing behavior change interventions and assisting with assessments and training. Okay, so right here, include implementing intervention plans and assisting and assessment with assessments and training. Remember the assessments that we do. We do preference assessment. This is not talking about writing assessments. If you're doing writing assessments, then this is where you are a trainee, okay? You are a trainee providing behavior technician services, but this will fall into this category here. Any individual accruing fieldwork / experience toward fulfilling eligibility requirements for BCABA or BCBA certification. If you are a student analyst, then yes, you are going to be writing out assessment plans, okay? But if you're not a student analyst, you are a RBT that's not pursuing the BCBA or BCABA, then you will be performing the assessments, which is the only one that can come on top of my head is preference assessments, okay? So that's what you will be doing. So assisting with assessments look like you performing them. And then when we look at the RBT task list, RBT task list, this is the assessment here. Conduct preference assessments, assist with individualized assessment procedures, assist with functional assessment procedures. Okay, so you have conducting and assisting. So what does it look like when you assist the BCBA with the assessments? Okay, this to me, again, when I was in RBT for 2 years, what it looked like was me and the BCBA talking together. And when she was asking me, hey, what is it that, you think that the client needs to change? Or what type of, what updates, like when it comes to the task that they're doing day to day, is there new goals we need to work on? Is there goals that we need to remove? And what are the behaviors? Any behaviors have changed? Stuff like that. Like, that's what it looks like to me when I'm assisting her with the assessments. Okay. the individualized assessment procedures. That one, I don't even know what that looks like, because how many of us are there? I don't know if this means that when they do the initial client assessment, or I'm not sure what that even looks like to me. They said example is curriculum based developmental and social skills. If any of you guys know exactly what does assist with individualized assessment procedures, maybe is what the example I gave when you just talk one-on-one with the BCBA concerning your client. Maybe that's what that means. But I don't think it means the initial client assessment. The third one is assist with functional assessment procedures. Yeah, I don't know what that means either, y'all. I don't know what that looks like, because I haven't been in RBT I haven't worked in a while, so I'm not sure what that looks like. All I know, as an RBT's job, all we do is implement. And then yes, we do give feedback to the BCBA. We have that one-on-one, but I've never seen an RBT who's not a student analyst to write out behavioral plans or treatment plans, because they, first of all, like I said, if we look at the CPT codes, the RBTs does not qualify to be writing that out. If that was the case, then student analysts should be getting paid higher amounts of money. They're the ones that's doing that. You know what I'm saying? So as a regular RBT, I've never seen them. I've never, and I work with multiple clients, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I work with multiple clients. And I've never had a BCBA tell me, hey, you need to write out the treatment plan. You need to write out the behavioral plan. Never had that happen. And then when we look here, y'all, in our job, the task list, everything is implementation and data collection. Where does it, and this is what you will be doing, where does it tell us to write out treatment plans? So anyways, y'all, so we got this. Okay, the ethics code, we went over this. Now, this is important for you to know who your supervisors, qualified supervisors. Okay, so an RBT supervisor is a BCBA and BCABA. Okay, now requirements coordinator, this is not a lead RBT. This is a BCBA, BCABA, and a licensed professional in another behavioral health profession that has ABA in its legislative scope of practice. So this could be a licensed licensed psychologist, because if you guys know, many of these ABAI approved programs, if you guys don't know, I should say, many of the ABAI approved programs is psychology. They have an undergrad, ABAI undergrad psychology programs in 5 universities. And in the master's degree, almost every one of them is psychology and is ABAI approved. So this is, again, licensed in another behavioral health profession that has ABA in its scope of practice. That is a RBT requirements coordinator. Okay. Actually, no, they changed that. That's actually, they're changing that starting January 21st, 2026. So this is a supervisor. The coordinator is the BCBA only. Okay, so we don't see RBT anywhere here that's a supervisor. We don't see RBT. We don't see lead RBT. All we see is BCBA, BCABA, and licensed professional that has the scope of ABA in its practice. That's it. We don't see anything else. So many of you that are not student analysts, and then you're supervising staff, you're giving out feedback, you're doing all, and you're like, oh, well, it's okay. I also work in the court with the client. And that's how they get y'all. Because there's some RBTs, right? They have the same client, but one RBT works in the morning with like probably 8 to 12, and then the other RBT comes in from 12 to 4 for that client. And then sometimes, and I've seen this, I've actually worked at a clinic and this happened to me, that I had an RBT, that same RBT that worked with that client. She would come in and say, hey, they told me to work alongside with you to help you out if you need anything, and just to be with you for 1 hour. And I'm like, oh, I thought only a BCBA can do that. They said, no, it's okay. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like I'm telling you guys, they will delegate this task to an RBT because they have the same client and they say, oh, it's okay. You can just clock in and just help the new RBT out, with your client and this and that since you guys are sharing clients. No, that is still considered supervision. And we already look at this, y'all, on the fact sheet here. Observation of service delivery with or without feedback. And this is allegedly, I have to say it that way. Allegedly, they're probably reimbursing that RBT that's helping out the other RBT, which is really training, helping out the other RBT. They're reimbursing them as if they are providing service, meaning the behavior technician service, the implementation, not the training, not how a BCBA or BCABA will get reimbursed. No, just them doing the implementation. That's probably how these companies allegedly are reimbursing that RBT that's training the other RBT. I'm just saying, guys, these are things that we have. And again, some of you guys may say, well, what's the big deal? The big deal is that you're being overworked and you're being underpaid. If you see yourself doing what a supervisor is supposed to be doing, but you're just getting a $5 an hour jump, then that's the problem. See, yes, you can message me. That's fine. That's the problem. You have to be careful, and especially if you're working for a school district. A lot of these schools don't know your ethics code, and they have you doing all type of training and for the client and for, again, client specific, okay, guidance, training, feedback on implementing the client's program. They have you guys doing that, but yet you're only getting paid $19 an hour. $20 an hour. To me, it's just like, who cares if you're getting paid $40 an hour? If you're not getting the same rate of a qualified supervisor, which is a BCBA or BCABA, then you shouldn't be doing their job. You should tell them, get a BCBA or BCABA to do this. This is outside of my scope of competence. This is outside of my RBT ethics code. I'm just saying. And let me tell you how these BCBAs want to play with y'all. Let's pull up the ethics code for behavior analysts, because this is something that somebody told me on one of my live events, and they said, "Oh, well, check the behavior analyst ethics code." I said, "Okay, I'm there. What you want me to check?" Check 4.09. I said, "Bet, let's read it." 4.09. Behavior analysts delegate tasks to their supervisees or trainees only after confirming that they can completely perform the task and that the delegation complies with the applicable requirements, which are the BSCB rules, licensure. First of all, licensure requirements, that's key, funder and organization policies. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, first of all, an RBT, let me say this right here, licensure requirements. That's not part of the RBT's requirement for us to be doing that. If anything, it goes against our quote unquote licensure or certification for us to be supervising and training. Because, and I keep saying it differently, separately, but because many people keep saying, no, they're different. They're not different. The training I'm talking about is behavioral training. So I'm saying it together. Supervision, including in training. Okay. So supervision is not, it goes against the RBT's ethics code and their licensure, their certification. Because again, if you want to delegate an RBT to be supervising other RBTs during the client sessions, then that RBT's signature, even the reimbursement rate, they can't get reimbursed from insurance. That's why you have to do all this unethical stuff just to get them reimbursed. Please tell me where you can allow an RBT to supervise another RBT. Don't try to reword it. Don't try to make it seem, oh, that's not what they're doing. Yes, it is what they're doing. That's why I said leave the lead RBT positions to the student analysts that can actually do a similar role of a behavior analyst, because they are already acting ethical. They are a trainee. So they need those unrestricted activities. They need to observe the staff during the session. They need to be training the staff on these things. They have to have that type of experience. Give it to the student analyst instead of giving it to an RBT who has 10 years of experience and a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, but doesn't want to pursue a higher certification. That's their problem right there. And then there's so many RBTs that are saying that, oh, well, it's okay because at least it's not a big deal. It's just not a big deal. It is a big deal. It really is a big deal, because you guys are coming in my comment section thinking that it's okay what you're doing. But if I ask you for your BACBID number, you're crickets, because you know you're not doing the right thing. That's the problem. That's the problem. Supervising RBTs also hold the title of clinical program director, supervisor, program. Yeah, they do. And guess what? These positions, the clinical program supervisors and all of that, that's usually either a student, someone who is an RBT who has a bachelor's degree but is a student analyst that is pursuing the BCBA certification, or is someone that has a BCABA certification as well. They only have a BCABA certification, and the clinic just calls them a clinical, just like what you said, Elevate with Ali. Is either a student analyst or a BCABA, because an RBT, you can't, it's outside of your scope of competence. You did not learn any. Let me show y'all the BCBA test outline. I'm gonna show y'all the BCABA, so y'all can understand this. You did not learn this stuff for you to be that supervising, like training, leading. You didn't learn it. Look at what's in the test outline. It's supervisory relationships, intervention, development, and monitoring. Okay, these two already. That's in the outline. This is for both BCABA and BCBA. Where that's not in the outline for the RBT. Sorry. We learned the basics. You want to do more, then get a higher certification so that you can ensure that you're getting compensated fairly. And not even just that, you are educated and you receive the fieldwork hours. BCABAs also have to receive fieldwork hours, just like a BCBA. So this is the practice that you are getting before you hold that title of a BCABA or a clinical supervisor, program supervisor with a BCABA certification, getting reimbursed higher than RBTs. Come on, y'all. You want to do more, get a higher certification so you can get paid fairly. But don't be doing all of this stuff because a company said it's okay. But like I said, you will never find this nonsense at the in-home ABA therapy. If that was the case, let me tell you my background. I had a lead RBT. The company I worked under had a lead RBT for their, I think they had 2 lead RBTs. How come not one of them came in to fill in for my BCBA that was in grievance leave for a month? And I was by myself the first month, no BCBA contact. How come, if it was so ethical, how come the lead RBT could not come in during my session at the in-home ABA therapy when I was providing in-home ABA therapy? It's not ethical. It's not ethical. It's not ethical, because even if there were student analysts, even that student analyst signature does not say, oh, okay, well, this RBT received supervision for the month. No. Even though, yes, that student analyst is working towards becoming a BCBA or BCABA, but their signature, because they're still RBTs, they're still registered as RBTs in their BACB account, they're not qualified supervisors. So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. If you are a lead RBT and you find yourself writing out treatment plans, behavioral plans, sitting in during the client session, providing training, but yet oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's not okay. You're not getting paid, and I'm trying to tell y'all, them lead RBT positions, their pay is low. From what I've read in the comment section, it's between 19 to, I think the highest is $30. But I made $32 without being a lead. So that's still low. From 19 to $30. And then actually the lowest I've actually read, someone was on my live the other month or so, she was getting paid $16. And she's training people to become behavior technicians, and she's not a student analyst. $16. And I said, what are you people doing with this lead RBT? You can get more money providing services. You get paid more providing services, and at least you're doing it ethically. Yeah, Zizi is 16 in Texas. Yep. I think that girl was in Tennessee though. The one that message is Tennessee. She was in Tennessee, because Tennessee is a low paying state for all roles. So it's just, in this space, y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all that you got to be careful and know your ethics code, because especially some of you guys are pursuing the BCBA route. Please do not become unethical either. If you're already bypassing unethical procedures as a RBT, you're going to be doing the same nonsense as a BCBA. Then you're going to be delegating tasks to your RBT, saying you can do this, and then you're saying it's okay, even though they're not getting compensated the same rate as you when they're doing that. Insurance does not compensate them to do the same task that you do as a BCBA or a BCABA. And especially when you work at them schools, like for the school district, you gotta tell them your ethics code. You cannot allow them to run game on you because, oh, we don't have enough money. That's not your problem. Be careful. Be careful, y'all. So I showed y'all everything here, and I'm gonna post this on the YouTube channel as well, called RBT Tipster Community. And I'm gonna post this so you guys can see the full thing. But my whole concept of teaching you guys your ethical role is just that you can know how to negotiate your pay, and you can know when you are acting unethical. And there were so many stories, y'all, of RBTs just coming during my live and telling me exactly how these ABA companies were playing them, overworking them, not paying them higher amounts, all of that stuff. Especially when it comes to new RBTs as well, because some of you guys are trying to become an RBT. Maybe you completed your 40-hour course, but you need a BCBA to do your competency assessment. And you're looking for an ABA company to hire you so that you can get this thing done. A lot of these ABA companies, they will give you a contract and say, hey, we will help you, but if you leave before 6 months or 1 year or 3 months, whatever time frame they choose, we are going to charge you X amount of money. And I had this happen to me before. I thank God there were nice people. They didn't charge me, but their pay was, I had to pay them if they would charge me $600. I said, dang, I already took the 40-hour course myself. I mean, all you had to do was like less than a 1-hour assessment. Like, it's ridiculous. But this is exactly what they will do. They love to run this game. They do the same thing for student analysts. It's even worse for student analysts, because some companies say, hey, the minute you get your BCBS certification, you have to work with us for 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, whatever it is. And it's always at them clinics. That's what I be telling. These clinics are a scam. That's why I be trying to, not all of them. There's really good clinics, not all of them. But you got to be careful, and you got to read between the lines and ask them dang questions. You got to ask specific questions so that you're not getting played. And that's why I wrote my RBT career guide for you guys. The link is in my bio, but everything that I have asked, questions I've asked when it comes to doing my own schedule as an RBT, like especially this is your benefit, that you can have your own schedule, because some of you guys are in school. Like me, I was in school when I was working as an RBT, and I couldn't work with the same client for 8 hours, and I'm like, oh, like I was drained. We're not just, let me tell y'all something, this is not a desk job. We're out and about, jumping up and down, handling behaviors. I mean, it's a lot of stress on the body and the mind. And I was like, no, I can barely show up for my school. I can't do this in 8 hours straight. I had to separate my pay. And I had to work with 2 clients. On top of that, that 8-hour client was inconsistent. So I worked, okay, positive creations. Thank you. I will check it out after the live. I worked with one client from 8 to 12 and another client from 3 to 6, and later on it changed from 4 to 7, just so that I can have that break time so I can eat, I can reset, I can do my schoolwork, and then go to my next client. I'm not drained and burnt out. So that career guide, it shares everything that you need to know for you to, as you are becoming, or as you are a new RBT or you're a seasoned RBT, is everything you need to know. And the link is in my bio, y'all. Make sure. So yeah, guys, so if any of you guys are lead RBTs as well, you can always DM me, and I would love to do an interview with a lead RBT to see exactly what does your position look like. And I'm not talking about student analysts, just regular lead RBTs, so we can see what exactly do you do. Because many, I thought this was a career advancement option, but I later changed my mind and said, nah, this isn't a career advancement option. Like a lot of these, again, this is only found in clinics, and not all clinics provide this position. And if they do provide it, most of them will only give it to student analysts, as they should, so that they can get more work done. And then this is like a student program, so that's fine. But not every clinic has this career advancement option. So I realized, I said, this is just a made up role that they made for the sake of filling a company's need, and some of them don't want to pay BCBAs or hire BCABAs, and they love to say, oh, insurance is not reimbursing. So how is insurance reimbursing an RBT to be supervising another RBT? How is insurance reimbursing that? I'm trying to allegedly I'm trying to tell y'all, they think I don't know, but I know. There's no way you're doing that ethically. Just like academic, a lot of these BCBAs try to input academics into the behavioral program, yet it's not reimbursed by insurance. That's why they call it a non-preferred task. It's not reimbursed. We don't do academics. I'm not teaching a child 1 + 1 = 2. This is a teacher's job, a tutor's job. I'm not 100% against it. I'm just saying I'm not going to be doing that for a whole hour. It has nothing to do with behaviors. If behaviors are happening, then again, like I told y'all, they need, and this is what I said with my last client, hire a tutor. And if while the tutor is there, I would be off to the side, which I was, sitting on their couch, observing my client, ensuring that there's no behaviors that, any behaviors that occur, I redirect it, whatever the case might be. I'm there to observe and to handle the behaviors, not there to teach math or English or science and de-escalate the behavior. No, I'm not there to do that. I'm not a teacher. This is outside of my scope of competence. This is not what I was trained for in the 40-hour training modules. Sorry. And these are the things, again, I'm not again. Oh, we got Annabelle. Okay. That's my name too. I'm not against you guys trying to help out your client. I'm not against that. I'm just saying, don't let this be a thing. Don't let this be a thing, because they make it a thing. Oh, well, the parents said that they need help. Well, tell the parents to hire a tutor. And I can be there while the tutor is there. Oh, well, the parents need to work and that's why we have to extend your hours. No, I'm not. I'm not a respite care provider. I'm not a daycare provider. They need somebody to help them with their child, for a longer period of time. They need to hire a respite care provider. This is ABA therapy. They would never dare say that to an SLP, to an OT, to a physical therapist. They would never say, "Oh, can you just stay with my client, with my child for 2 extra hours just so I can work?" They would never say that. But you guys, you BCBAs are allowing that because you want to help out the parents, which I understand, but help them out by sending them resources of respite care providers. RBTs are not respite care providers. Sorry, this is therapy at the end of the day. And then on top of that, we're not doing things that the child enjoys. We're always taking a child outside of their comfort zone. Do you know how annoying and frustrating it could be that somebody's constantly on you 5 days a week for 4 or 5 hours, taking you outside of your comfort zone? We don't think that way. So please, this is therapy. And then if insurance, anything that happens with insurance, about cutting down hours, like I said, I hope it only affects the in-home. The long hours is cool for the clinics and the schools, but the in-home, I hope it only affects in-home, because there's no need. This should not even accept 8, 6, 5 hours at the house, and there's no community outing in that behavioral plan. There's no community outing. And then yes, insurance does, and I'm not gonna generalize it, but some insurances, they do reimburse for community outings. Because when I was working at a school and then my child had a field trip, when I said my child, my client had a field trip, guess what? I was still reimbursed while sitting at that movie theater watching Mario Brothers. I was reimbursed, full rate, no deduction. So don't tell me insurance does not reimburse for community outings. Yes, they do. Maybe they don't reimburse for your transportation. Yeah, that's your job as a company if you want to provide that. But they do reimburse for you going to I went to the library with another client back in Georgia, and I went to the movies with another client in Florida. Full paid, reimbursed. And not even just the library, we also went to the park. Come on. So again, y'all, like I'm saying, I'm just educating y'all on your role. Whatever you want to do with this information, is up to you. But please know, don't be overworked and underpaid. And I highly suggest, again, that you guys click the link in my bio and get that ebook that I created for y'all, the 40-page career guide. It says for new RBTs, but also seasoned RBTs will benefit from this. This is everything that I wish I knew as an RBT. And then I have my negotiating tips. I have my session note template. I have my, and that's BCBA approved. I have interview questions. And how to set up your own schedule as an RBT, because many of you guys don't know you can do that. You can do it. So I have everything set up and written for you guys, 40-page ebook. Okay, so the link is in my bio. So this full live will be posted on my YouTube channel, RBT Tipster. I'm gonna post it tonight so that you guys can have the full live. And I'll see you guys soon. I don't know. I'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed night, guys.